I got a nice hat. My pastor from Athens has bought me this hat, or a hat just like this, for the last probably 15 years. So he gave me a brand new one for Miami, so it was nice of him. Pastor Bill Ricketts, Prince Avenue.
What's the brand name on that hat?
I don't know. Yeah, I think he orders it from Mexico, believe it or not, though. I think.
Coach, you've done a lot of spring practices, but the first at your alma mater here, how did you feel from an emotional standpoint, just experience for you?
It was definitely an emotional time. Just thinking about, matter of fact, I didn't sleep hardly at all last night. I didn't think I'd be that way, but last night I just couldn't get it, I got my eyes closed, but I couldn't sleep. And I probably went to sleep sometime after midnight, but we had to get it up, get up about 5 and get going on an early morning. But a lot of anticipation, just a lot of things running through my mind, making sure all the drills were right. I got here early enough to, get with the coaching staff and just be sure one more time on the drills and where everything was going to be, and because every single thing's brand new. But we want the players to know we're organized. We want the players to know we're on our game too. We expect them to do it. Okay, so we got to do it as coaches. So, yeah, a little bit of butterflies going into day one.
Coach, I went to tennis camp here a couple of years, and coming back near here, I get nostalgic. I can't imagine what it's like for you to take the field for the first time as head coach.
Well, it's a blessing. It's an honor. I don't take it lightly at all. It's a little bit surreal. When I think about my role as a player, and a backup quarterback's important. And I've been able to stress that my whole career because I was a backup quarterback, and you're one play away from for the entire team counting on you. But it is a little bit different responsibility now, obviously. But to be here and to represent the University of Miami and represent the family means a lot to me.
Any flashback moments?
No. I mean, when you think about it, if I thought about flashback moments, it'd probably be Don Smith scaring the heck out of me on the way to a scrimmage. We used to drive buses to the Orange Bowl for a scrimmage, and Don Smith would be there, and he'd be looking at us freshman quarterbacks and telling us what he's going to do to us that day. But that's probably my most scariest moment as a player.
How was your team from a conditioning standpoint? Do you see stamina the way you wanted at this point in spring?
Well, first of all, it's smoking hot out here, really. I mean, you guys can feel it. It's hot, it's humid. And most of the work that we did in the mat drill program was inside. It was about conditioning, and it was about change of direction, and it was about a lot of things, team and all that, but it was indoors, it was not outdoors. And so being in this heat is a different deal. And I got to make sure I got enough breaks and enough times for them to hydrate throughout the day. I'm not used to it being quite this hot this early in the day, this time of the year. So I got to make sure I make a good adjustment there.
Mark, where are you as far as just familiarity with the roster, knowing who all the guys are, even at this point?
I'm learning. I mean, you see the names on their helmets, right? They got their name on the front, they got their name on the back. We made it in such a way where it's not going to fall off, because, I think all the coaches need it, because even the position coaches might be very familiar with their guys and not sure on the other side of the ball who everybody is. And, I'm sitting here trying to learn 100 of them, and little by little, I'm getting there. But that's why we have the names on the hats right now, so we can keep identifying everybody.
Thank goodness for numbers as well.
Well, when you get a number and a name together and you start watching film, and you're like, who's 37 and who's this and who's that, and before long you got it memorized. But it does take a while to memorize all those guys, memorize all the recruits we signed, memorize all the 2017s and 18s that we're trying to recruit. I mean, there's a lot of names and a lot of people, especially for one man, being the head coach. If all I did was coach QBs, I think I'd know all the QBs, and I'd know all the recruits that were QBs. It'd be pretty simple. But as head coach, you got to know everybody, and I know I love them all, even though I can't recognize them all the time.
Speaking of QBs, how much have you learned about Brad in these last few weeks, especially, and just what kind of appreciation do you have for what he's going to be able to do?
Well, I'm very impressed with the QBs in general, as far as really working hard, learning what we're going to ask them to learn, because they've got a lot to process. And Brad did an excellent job. Matter of fact, when they came back from spring break and then we started covering things again, you could tell Brad, and really the rest of them, did a great job of studying throughout spring break. So when they got here, it was not like we just started over again. So I was really pleased with that. And I think Brad in particular, you could tell he's a veteran. You could tell he's been around. There's some new things that he's learning, but mostly it's things he's already done that had a different name, quite frankly. So far we hadn't really done anything that would be that much different than what Miami would have done in the past as far as concepts and things of that nature. But the things that are new, he's really embracing it. And I was pleased with what he did in the meetings and on the practice field.
For you, what was it like to get out there and be hands-on again with quarterbacks, which is something?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I love coaching. Coached quarterbacks my whole career, and you know, at Georgia when I turned it over about 7-8 years into it, it was different. And I stayed far enough away because I know it's not good to have two cooks in the kitchen. I don't need Mike Bobo saying one thing and me saying something different, and I confuse my quarterback. So I know how important it is to speak the same language and to have a lead guy. And so, you know, I stepped back and let Mike do it, and Mike obviously did a great job of it, but I missed it. And now I'm getting a chance to do it again, not only coaching the QBs, but heavily involved in the installation of the offense, calling the offensive plays and all that. It's going to be fun and a challenge, but that's kind of what got me here to begin with.
Last question, guys.
Hey, Coach, there's some guys who are limited, obviously. I want to ask specifically about Gus Edwards, his progress, and then anybody else who maybe you'll be out.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into a laundry list of that, but Gus was able to go and do everything today. And if he has no setbacks, he'll continue to progress. And I don't believe he'll have, right now he's full go, no limitations unless something sets him back. All right, gang, thank you.
Thank you.